Welcome to Ask Giri, the Physio Show. This is Giri Srinivasan, your host. Season 3, Episode 11. The topic today is balance. We've been seeing so many people with balance issues of all ages. I thought, okay, we'll do what are the 5 important steps we can do to improve our balance signature. Because our balance signature and movement signature is very important for us to live a very happy life in this world. Right? So that's why we're going to step into that. Let's go dive right in. What's the number 1 step for improving your balance signature? Pay your attention to your feet and ankles. Barefoot, yes. My personal mantra, the goal is talking to my patients from going from wearing something on your feet, either socks or Birkenstocks inside the house to going barefoot, because barefoot is the way, right? Unless you have very severe problems with your feet, unless you're medically advised not to be barefooted, you have to be barefoot. You have to connect your feet to the earth. Okay. Research shows even if you wear a pair of socks, it blocks 25% of the sensory input which is going into your brain from your feet. How many of us are wearing socks all the time? I know, I understand, we live in Canada, we have a long winter, you want to keep your feet warm, but give yourself a chance to go without even socks, even in the winter time, inside the house. In summer, no question, no socks, no Birkenstocks, no slippers, like you have to be barefooted. Our feet are one of the most beautiful architecture created with so many bones and joints and arches and tendon sling mechanisms to be as rigid as it has to be and as flexible and mobile if it has to be. So for the feet to be able to perform its function, it has to be barefooted efficiently. Okay, stop casting it in a shoes all the time. Wear something wider on the toe box, not too much narrow ones. And even the summer in the backyard, and be barefooted if it's safe for you to do that. And there is barefoot clubs, barefoot walking clubs, barefoot hiking clubs. There's so many things out there. Get yourself more information and be barefooted as much as possible. I cannot emphasize that importance of that more than this. Okay. And see this excerpt from that Norman in here. When we have experience, the neural substrate, that means how the neural connections in the brain organizes itself. So for the brain to organize itself beautifully, it has to receive all this beautiful sensory information going into the brain from your feet, from your ankles, knees, hips, your joints, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments, your visual input, your vestibular input, your inner ear, right? And what your eyes are seeing, all this information, beautiful sensation has to go in multiple channels for your brain to organize very nicely and connect each other. Because the neurons which fire together will wire together. Remember that. I'll repeat again. The neurons which fire together will wire together and forms a beautiful engrams in your brain for a beautiful motor output or a movement output efficiently. Okay? So, again, sticking on to the foot and ankle. The foot strength, mobility and stability is very important. I'm treating a lot of people with the foot problems because they are not using the feet how they are meant to be used. Okay, always casting in shoes. A lot of people has too many bunion problems, the big toe going in, and I never yet to see a successful bunion surgery so far. And you have to start using the toe spaces for the alignment of the big toe, because your big toe, the first ray we call it, the big toe is very, very important for your foot function and for your gait and the balancing. Okay, you have dedicated muscles for your big toe to extend and also to flex. Right? Both muscles are very important for your balance and the gait and the posture, right? Even pushing off when you're walking, like the force from the big toe is very important for that, along with your calf muscles. So your foot mobility is very important. A lot of people develop osteoarthritis in the big toe joint. If you have already, you can still do things. Bunion surgery is not the solution. So you have to move the joints. As simple as a $2 investment. Go to a dollar store, pick up a bunch of marbles in different sizes and shapes, and then throw it on the carpet, sit and watch your TV, whatever you want to do, but start picking up those marbles with your toes and activate those toe muscles, activate those toe joints. And what kind of sensory input are you giving to your brain when you do that? And you don't have to worry about your toe problem and the foot problem. You're working all the small muscles of the foot as well. Simple things like that. Keep your foot and the toes mobile, agile, and stability. Okay, stability we'll talk a little bit later. And the stability is very important in our feet because that sets up our posture. Very important. And your toes, I already talked about, and your tripods. So imagine this is your foot, right? And this is your big toe. So 1, and this is your small toe, 2, and your heel, 3. So those are your tripods, right? Each foot has a tripod. And when you stand, and just see first of all if you have 50-50 on both sides, and then pay some attention to, are you using those tripod on each foot? Are you feeling a little bit weight on the bottom of the big toe, a little bit on the outside of the pinky, and a little bit more on the heel? And see if you can distribute your body weight so that you can feel the tripod here and the tripod here, and 50-50. So we always catch a lot of people more on their heels. They're pushing the center of gravity behind. They're more on the heels all the time. And that's what the more common presentation we see. Next one is like habitually loading one side more than the other. The right side 70% weight and the left side only 30% weight, right? So people are like this, So check out those things and see and correct yourself. Do a self-awareness examination on your weight bearing on your feet and correct it. You can do it right now. Just stand up. And if you have shoes, it's better to do this without shoes. Take your shoes off and then try. And appreciate where you're at. No judgments. Just see where you're at, okay? And then you can correct it. And then see how you have to manage that, right? Ankle mobility is one of the most important thing for your balance, right? If you have reduced ankle mobility, the ankle strategy, which is the balance reaction, if you're standing and somebody pushes you gently, you use your ankle strategy to kind of go and come back, right? To kind of gain your stability back. The ankle strategy will not initiate if your ankle mobility is impaired. So you make sure that you have good ankle mobility there. You see that colored picture there. That person is working on something called relative dorsiflexion. That means when you're weight bearing, how much that foot is coming up relatively to the ground. So that exercise on that, like I call it, kiss the wall with your knee. So that exercise is very important for you to practice. And take a moment to look at the picture and just go to the wall and try that movement, right? And see how your ankles are moving. And can you go actually touch the wall with your knees, or you can't? So if you can't, that itself is an exercise. Practice that every day on both sides. Whichever side is restricted, you can do more on that side. Practice it every day to improve that. And that is very important for your balance. Doesn't matter how old you are. Whether you're 20 years old or 90 years old, doesn't matter. That is a key. That's very important for you. And if that is well, your ankle strategy will be very good. Your ankle strategy is well. When you destabilize, you can stabilize yourself back. So it's like this. Your movement is happening from the ankle, right? And you can work on that. So what are some dynamic stability exercises you can do if your balance is good, you're not contraindicated or against any medical advice to do this exercise, you don't have to do it. Otherwise, you can do this once. You can see that it's called star exercise, we call it. All you have to do is put some tapes on the floor, whether it's better on the hardwood or carpet, doesn't matter. And then if you're not sure of your balance, always consult your physiotherapist to get your balance assessment done to know what kind of balance exercises you have to start with. There are so many levels, right? And at our clinic, we have about 6 levels of balance exercises. So you should know where to start with. It's not like everybody should be standing on a basketball ball or a foam. No, sometimes you may have to stand on the floor, but we got to start from there. So you have to consult a physiotherapist to have your balance assessment done before you know where you have to start. That's very important. So what I'm showing this star exercise here, or the Y exercise or Y balance exercise here, is for a little bit on advanced level, right? So you stand and with your feet, and you're going to move the front foot forward along the front line, come back, see if you can stabilize that. Then sideways, come back, you can stabilize that, and the other side, come back if you can stabilize that. Okay, so like in the picture. Again, this is for a little bit advanced level, not for everybody. But these are the ways you're going to keep your foot strength, mobility, stability, ankle strength, ankle mobility, relative dorsiflexion, and ankle strategy well. Because that's where it starts, guys. Very, very, very important. Okay, let's see what's next. Again, emphasizing why the sensory input going in is very important for your brain and the neuronal circuits organization. Yeah, the sensation, what's the purpose of the sensation? Is to orient yourself in the space, orient yourself in this world, the place where you're at, in the surroundings, in the environment. and guide you through that to navigate and help to control your mobility and help to control that you don't fall, help to control how to stabilize back if you get destabilized, right? Coordination of the movements, the smooth movements, the pattern, the movement accuracy, the timing, the reaction timing, and also assess that, right? And also the success of the movement, how good the movement is. Is your brain happy? Is your neurons happy? If not, it will fine tune it. It will tell your thalamus and your cerebellum and your cerebral cortex that it's not happy with that movement, how it's executed, and it will fine tune it for yourself. It can only do that if it gets proper sensory input and the proprioceptive input, which is also part of sensation, which is your joint position sense. And none of this will happen if you cast your feet on in the shoes all the time. Think about it, right? That's the purpose of the sensory input. Second, when we talked about ankle, we are coming up to the another strategy called hip strategy. In this picture, you will see the ankle strategy when you have a little force. F1 is a very mild force. When the force F1 is applied, how the movement is happening just from the ankle, that's called ankle strategy we just discussed. If the force is a little bit more, F2 is a little bit more force, you can see from the size of the arrow mark there, then you use your hip strategy. If somebody pushing a little bit harder, you don't use your ankle strategy, doesn't come in, your hip strategy comes in. Okay, you move from your hips and balance yourself back. For the hip strategy, you need to have proper hip mobility, obviously. Because of our lifestyle and everything, we sit a lot, we don't move our hips very well. We encourage our patients to spend some time on the floor. You must be going like, are you kidding me? Floor? Yes, floor. If you can, get on the floor. So you allow your hips to move in a different ways, cross-leg sitting or other alternate sittings. Just whatever you want. You want to roll, crawl, just do whatever you want. Play with your kids on the floor and get the hip mobility good. And also you can consult your physiotherapist if you have hip issues to work on your hip mobility and stability. There's a lot of dynamic stability issues we are seeing in the hip, right? And that will help you with your hip strategy. Or you can also practice hip strategy as an exercise also. You can just stand there beside the wall if you're not sure, or you can have a chair beside you or in the front. Like you can go, just start with your hips and you can go like that, right? You can go like, practice that movement without losing your balance, right? And if you have any doubts, please consult your physiotherapist. Don't fall on your face, I know. And we are moving away from the joints and muscles into your sensitive inner ear vestibular system. So, we have 2 ears, we have 2 inner ears, we have vestibular apparatus inside them, 3 canals, semicircular canals we call it, and their job is to calibrate your position in space, especially the head, and also coordinating the head movements with your eye movements, and eye, head, and the brain, eye, head, and the neck. They kind of work through all these important circuits. Sometimes you can mess up those circuits by a head injury, or motor vehicle accidents, or you can have concussion, you can have any sports injuries, or sometimes with no reasons at all, unknown causes, and it can happen, right? And you will get a lot of symptoms, dizziness, vertigo. Sometimes if your neck is stressed too much, you can get also cervicogenic dizziness. That's a little different story, but we see a lot of people out of that also. So you can check how is your reflexes are, and then you can train some of these drills if you find your inner ear connection with your eyes and your brain is not great. It's a very simple thing. It's called Vestibulo-ocular Reflex. We call it VOR. Basically, it's the ability of your brain and your inner ear system to fixate your eyes on an object when your head is moving. Basically, that's what it is. As simple as this. I put a business card there. Here, basically, you put a pen or something in front of you here, and make sure you look at that, and then you mildly rotate your head to the side by keeping your eyes on that one. Don't take your eyes off that pen, and work on that like that. You can start very slow and very small, and then if you want, you can increase your amplitude a little bit more if you're comfortable, if you're not dizzy, and also increase the speed also if you want. You want to go a little bit faster by keeping your eyes there. And this is a nice drill to work on your vestibulo-ocular reflex, and this will help you balance quite a bit as well. And also, otherwise, you can use a sheet like this. I just made it here with the A here with all the directions. So what I have to do is, you have to make sure your nose is pointing at A and keeping your, your eyes are looking at the A and making sure your kind of nose going with the lines, right? So I'm going to keep here in front of me, and then I'm looking at the A, then I am turning my nose along the lines. in different directions. It's a little bit challenging. So, okay, again, eyes on A and the nose, tip of the nose is following the lines. Like you can just draw this in a simple sheet. Any letters you want does have to be A, and then just, 4 lines and 4 diagonal lines, and then practice that. Again, if you find it hard to do this, start in sitting on a chair, and then you can do it in standing, standing with support, standing without support, and also you can modify the speed, the amplitude of the movement, and also then if you want to change, you can change your stance from the normal standing, okay, and go to the narrow standing to challenge yourself when you do this. From narrow standing, you can also go to the tandem standing to do that. Then you can stand on the foam like this, stand on the foam like this, stand on the foam like this. Then you can do single leg standing. There are so many ways you can progress these exercises, right? But again, if you have any questions about how to do this, consult your physiotherapist who's also trained in vestibular systems, right? So I myself is a vestibular therapist, certified vestibular therapist, and you will find a lot of certified vestibular therapists all over in the city. So find the right one and who's work with, and then you can get some help with them as well. So just want to introduce you to some things other than muscles and joints, what is important for your balance also. So that's number 3. Just to kind of rewind, number 1, we talked about the foot, barefoot, how it's important, giving as much sensitive input to the brain and ankle strategy. And number 2, we talked about hip strategy and hip mobility. Number 3, VOR drills or vestibulo-ocular reflex drills. Okay. And then number 4, single leg standing. You must be going, oh my God, like how many of you are still wearing your underwear standing in one leg, or wearing your socks standing in one leg? How many of you doing that? Raise your hands. Okay, and if you are doing that, good job. We are losing that ability. We are losing the ability of single leg standing. And I'm assessing everybody and how many of them cannot stand single leg for more than 10 seconds without losing their balance. They go like this, either they drop or they do all this dances and everything, right? So you check yourself right now, how good you are. You just stand up from your chair where you're sitting, and preferably barefooted, and see if you can be here solid, right? Single leg standing. And on both sides, not only one side, because your real signature, your posture signature will only come when you do in single leg. Like I don't assess posture in bipedal stance like this. That's not the real picture. If you want to assess your posture, I will make you a single leg standing, and I'll see what kind of compensations your body is doing. And that's the way we assess the posture. Because why single leg standing is important? Because walking is 70%, 75% single leg standing, right? You don't walk like this, you walk like that. So there's alternate single leg standing. That's very, very important. And a lot of us are losing that ability, especially as we age. So if you are 40 years or older, if you can't do the single leg standing for more than 10 seconds, you have some work to do. Or any age, doesn't matter. Even like, you're a 10-year-old, I'm finding it not able to stand in single leg. If your kid cannot do this for more than 10 seconds, single leg standing, he needs some work or she needs some work. Okay, you got to talk to your physiotherapist. This is dynamic hip stability and static hip stability work we have to do. And you see some of the different things you can work on. Once you're able to stand on single leg on the floor for about 30 seconds or so without losing your balance, then you can start working on different challenging balance exercises. These are a little bit advanced balance exercises, not for the people who have really a lot of imbalance. We don't start them here. This is intermediate to advanced. So you can see a lot of different things you can do in single leg standing, moving your leg forward, backward, sideways, on the ground, on the foam, and also the single leg deadlifts. Those can do so many of other variations. I just put few things. The point here is to emphasize that single leg standing is very important ability for balancing as you grow older or in your life. You cannot lose that ability. And don't tell me that I'm 70 years old, you want me to stand in single leg standing. You do sometimes if you want to prevent falls, right? Falls prevention is very important. You can practice this just with the support also, right? Holding onto a wall or a chair and practice that, and then go from there to higher levels. So that's important. The last one is improve your awareness of movement. Awareness of movement or awareness to movement is ATM, is the word coined by Moshe Feldenkrais. It's a Feldenkrais approach. like, what I feel is a lot of people are doing exercise because they want to do exercise without paying awareness to that movement, blasting music in the ears, or they're watching video or something, just moving. They don't pay attention to how the body is moving, and how they are initiating the movement, how they are following up through the movement, at what point of time in that movement they are finding it harder to do, how the bodies are reacting to it, how it's compensating, how you are feeling. Those is very important for you to connect to your body, and connecting your body first and sensing inwards is very important, and connecting your feet to the earth, next one, and the space. So awareness of movement is the key to improve the movement. If you want to improve the movement, shut off your music, shut off the videos, pay some awareness to your movement. Scan your body in front of the mirror and move in front of the mirror and observe and feel inside, and be aware, right? Differentiation is another one. Differentiation, what is it? You don't have to make huge changes in your sensory inputs to create a lot of building nice brain maps, right? So, for example, if you hold a 10-pound dumbbell, if I put a pen on top of that, you may not feel the difference of that weight. But if you hold a brochure and if you put a pen on the top, you will feel the difference. That's what I'm talking about, right? Even the smallest change in the sensory input, it helps you create better brain mapping. Because for all our body parts, we have map in our brain, we call cortical mapping, and different body parts have different representation in your brain. How to enhance those mapping in you, and also build some new maps in your system. So it helps. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to make big changes to your exercises. Even if you make 2 pounds, 1 pound increase in your weight, even if you change from standing on the floor to the standing on the foam, even instead of moving here, if you move there, that's a beautiful different sensory input. So instead of doing this all the time, if I do this, your brain is going, wow, what is that pattern, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Differentiation, very important, right? Don't do the same thing all the time, right? Don't work out the same way all the time, linear patterns. Incorporate a lot of diagonal rotational patterns. I'm going to show you some pictures of different types of new movements you can explore. That's very important. And listen to your body. That's very important. And the second key is slowness of movement. This is the biggest challenge with a lot of people. They cannot do the exercise slowly. They just want to get that 8 reps done or 10 reps done. They go very fast. Because slowness is very important. Because slowness is the key to awareness. And awareness is the key to learning. And it's all about learning. You're creating new neuronal engrams in your brain. So differentiation and then the slowness. And again, don't worry about making mistakes. Errors are essential. That's the point I want to get across to you guys. There is no right way to move. There's only better ways. Those better ways will create efficient output. It's just efficient, that's all it is. So if you make a mistake, it's okay. Your body will pick it up. You can pick it up, or your physiotherapist can pick it up, or your personal trainer can pick it up and correct it. So do not be scared about making some mistakes. Errors are essential for you. Okay, another thing you need to know is even the smallest movement in one part of the body involves the whole body. A lot of people don't know that. For example, core workout, you don't have to do a lot of like planks and sit-ups and push-ups. Like if you want me to do a core workout, see, my core is working right now. Yeah. You must be wondering. Before even I started moving my arm, my core is already engaged. And then when I go there, I know it's working. It is working. And you don't have to tighten anything. Just squeezing your butt and squeezing your abdomen. And that's not, if you're doing that, please don't do that. That's not how our brain works, and that's not how you strengthen muscles. So don't do that. So think beyond that and think small, think slow, and think different. And also errors, don't worry about it. Yeah, smallest movements sometimes can make bigger difference. So now, having said that, this is Moshe Feldenkrais. I'm not Feldenkrais trained, but I attend a lot of their conferences, summits, and read most of the books, and I do incorporate some of their approaches into the treatment plan and exercise prescription. It really helps. It's just traveling inside, like a lot of sensory information, and how that brings a better motor output. Because I'm also a neurodevelopmental therapist, I have my postgraduate diploma in it. We treat a lot of pediatric patients as well. So all these things kind of adds together. I do not follow like one approach, like I'm a McKenzie therapist or Maitland therapist or NDT therapist. I take all these beautiful things, all the beautiful pearls, all the different approaches has to offer, and put it all together for our patients to make them feel better, right? That's what we do. So I'm going to show you some pictures of some of the movements you would have not done, or you would not experienced, or you would have not seen in any exercise videos or the gyms. I just want to make your brain appreciate what are the different ways you can move, right? Look at that picture beautifully. Lying on a side lying, extending your neck and your upper back, and bringing your arm all the way up and pushing that. Like, if you're in a situation you can try this, let's try this movement. It just, you're introducing is totally different movements into your body. How you are moving your neck, extension. A lot of people don't extend anymore. I tell them to look up, they just look up with their eyes. They don't even look up, because extension is one ability we are losing as human beings thanks to all the smartphones and smart devices and laptops, right? So look at the beautiful extension of the neck and the spine, and look at the beautiful overhead movement of the shoulder, capsule stretch and everything. Just feel it and do it and enjoy it. And feel, no music, no video, just feel your movement, right? And just connect on the floor. And look at this movement here. And this is one of the components we train actually. I do a lot of rolling with my patients. A lot of problems you can actually train with rolling. If you have back pain, you should roll. If you're not walking right, you should roll. Rolling is nothing but walking on the ground in different ways, activating the right muscles. And rolling is a very important exercise tool for me, for my patients. So this is one of the, we call from prone to supine rolling component. And look at the movement. How many of us lying on your tummy? How many of us using our hips in different ways? Try these things. Try these things. It's a lot of fun. Because if you don't have any major issues, if you're functionally good, try these things. You will have fun with these movements. Experience these movements. You will appreciate it. And these are all the things important for balance, because balance means not just balance training. You have to think beyond that. Balance is form, balance is posture, balance is movement pattern, balance is motor control, balance is mobility and stability, right? So don't think balance means you got to stand on the foam with eyes closed. No, it's beyond that. Motor control is beyond that, okay? Now look at this movement, how much fun it is. Sitting kind of a crossed leg, open it up, and then just side bend. And look at feel that movement, how your brain and body is going to appreciate it. Look at this. Babies, you have seen always babies doing this, lying on the back and bringing the leg. Sometimes they take their toes to the mouth to suck them or just move them like that. Enjoy that movement. Try this and see how nice it feels. How it opens up your hips and your arms and your pelvis and the core and everything, right? Look at that, how it is. Try it. Just get on the floor and try it. It's so much fun. And then look at this movement here. Beautiful. Look at the hip position, 90-90 on the hips. Opens up your hips and pivots your pelvis. Look at the nice extension and rotation on the spine. Look at one hand weight bearing, other hand reaching out, neck rotation. Look at, appreciate the movements happening in from head to toe. All is different joints. Beautiful, isn't it? Give that experience to your body. Exercise is not just designed only for gym or physio clinics. Just enjoy it. Move. And this one of the book, it's very good if you want to learn more about ATMs and Feldenkrais's approach. Awareness through movement is one of the good book, and you can appreciate that as well. So that's it, guys. 5 simple steps for improving your balance signature. We talked about foot ankle strategy, hip strategy. We talked about vestibulo-ocular reflex drills. We talked about single leg standing and being aware of your movements, aware of your breathing, aware of your inner senses, and appreciate it. Good luck. If you have any questions, drop a message or email to me. And if you like this, if you like the approach, and please share it with your friends, and go visit physioshow.ca website. All our episodes are archived there. You can watch any episode, sign in, watch. It's free. Okay? Educate and empower. See you guys. Bye.